Replay, skips, replay cinema, yes.
Love this performance. This is a very expensive part of the game, by the way. One of the things that in live action is you get for free is putting a shirt on or taking it off. In a CG world or in video games, it's extremely expensive and hard. And we had to write this whole physics simulation on this shot, this right here. This is so tricky to pull off. We're seeing it at the same time that Dina is seeing it. Like, look how beat up she is. Look how much she's already gone through.
Often when you play video games, your character or any of the characters in the game are impervious, right? They live or they die. It's pretty binary. And this allowing us to show the wear and tear on her body and allowing the violence to have an impact, not just emotionally, but also visibly, again, humanizes all of the characters in this game.
There's so much happening there with almost no dialogue.
That scene is tough. Like, taking her shirt off and exposing her and her grief there, because it's not just about what she did, you know? Like, there's so much grief, and she hasn't expressed anything yet, right? Like, it's the first time you really see it, and so there's this urge to, like, care for that, but then also that anxiety of, like, I'm losing this person.
Right.
It's really painful to even watch and, like, talk about. Like, it's really heavy. It's just such a universal theme there.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same replay next.
I was one of the ones.
Right.
Oof, yeah.
And the girl.
And we talked a lot about how could Ellie draw the truth out of him. And even when confronted with facts, he might not say the truth. It's what makes him ultimately do it is the threat of, like, I will disappear and you'll never know my fate. And that's the worst thing she could threaten him with. A lot of iteration on this horse animation right here. Trying to make it as believable as possible.
This hug. Just the unrequited hug.
I've definitely had those moments with my kids where it's like they're mad at me over something.
You talk to me.
I feel like it's such I mean, as thinking of, like, when I was a kid, it's so hard to reciprocate a physical hug like that when you're so angry. You're like, you can't touch me right now because I don't know what I'm gonna do. Tell me.
It's like I don't even know if Ellie knows what she's expecting here. She just wants I think she just wants a more plausible story, but there's a part of her that maybe is still in denial of what he's going to say.
Yeah.
I also remember you being so patient, Neil, with this. It was...
You will never see me again.
It was so important to just let each line land where it needed to land and the response to come when it had to come.
I'll go back to Jackson.
Because we did this a lot of times. We all were very patient with this one.
I love watching your performance right here, Trev, like Joel doing the math of, like, do I say it, do I not say it? And then right here, he's resigned. He's going to say it. And she just needs to push him over the edge. But look at him. He's so torn. It's so great.
The first word is the hardest.
And he doesn't need to spell the whole thing out for her because she knows.
Yeah,
she knows what this meant.
Would have killed you. Ashley, there's something that you did that is just so powerful. It's that, without even saying it, just the clutching, like I can't breathe. Like it's literally taking the air out of me, and
It's so much information to find out,
Yeah.
but something that she's always known, but to actually hear it. And also knowing that, oh, wow, you have been lying to my face every time I've asked you about this. And also the purpose that she had is kind of now gone.
Yeah.
Well, the sacrifices that all the other people made, right? Which is like Riley and Tess
Oh,
and
yeah.
Henry and Sam and everybody along that journey.
Yeah. Yeah. Going that whole journey in it.
What was it? It can't be for nothing. It can't be for nothing.
See you at day 3.
Yeah, I feel like the killing of Nora was a really big turning point. I feel like emotionally for Ellie. Because, oh man, I love that part. Just to see how much she's been through physically.
Yeah, for me, that was one of my favorite sort of moments. Is so much in video games the characters feel infallible, or even if they take hits, they're still great, you know. And to show that this isn't just an external cost. She's destroying herself.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue.
Oh,
Oh,
The Ellie and Jesse relationship is really kind of fascinating, of the respect these characters have for one another and the shared love they have for Dina. Yeah, this was a cool shot of just showing what's at stake. We just keep pursuing this thing endlessly.
I aspire to be Jesse when I grow up.
me too.
Yeah.
Such a good dude.
She had a rough
Yeah,
night.
also the idea of secrets, right? Characters holding on to these secrets, right? The idea that she's pregnant is a secret that Jesse figures out.
Is she pregnant?
And then, like, right, it's again knowing how much Ellie wrestles with characters not telling her the truth.
Yeah. And I think so much of the wrestling with that was like, I shouldn't be the one to tell this information. It's not my place to, but yeah, I don't want to.
But we gotta take her.
Don't want to
I
lie.
don't want to lie.
She needs real care, and she's not gonna get that.
Yeah, I know.
This is starting to lay track of the choice that's coming later of I can't just leave Tommy as rationalization. Now that she's like, she had some time away from the torture, the obsession, the call of the hunt is coming back up.
Maybe you could. The justification, which again has learned from Joel.
Yeah, whittling these scenes down to just the bare essentials, just to make them as tight as possible, to get back to gameplay. That was quite a bit of iteration.
Which I feel like speaks so much to what Naughty Dog is like. The scenes don't have a ton of dialogue, and so much of it is just through looks or movements.
Yeah, well, we're in a privileged position in that we have the budget and the animators and like the talent that could like translate what you're doing on stage pretty much one-to-one to what comes out on screen. But it does take a lot of effort.
Let's go tell her we're leaving then.
I'll just meet you.
No.
Like, yeah, he's got a lot to process, right? It's just,
Yeah, he just found out he's a dad.
he just found out he's a dad. And this is like this goodbye, because any one of these excursions, you might not come back. And Ellie's surrounded by all these people that want to support her, and they don't quite understand the darkness of the obsession.
I need you to lock the door for us.
How do you leave that little punum behind?
I know.
Look at her.
Let's do it. Your map showed the aquarium along the shore. Should be down.
You completed the cinematic.
It took forever to build this, what we call the wide, which is like the deep background, where you could see the Ferris wheel, you could see just all these obstacles in front of them.
How are we crossing this?
We could use that road.
You could see WLF vehicles on that highway. And again, when you're acting in this, you don't see anything. So then you're just kind of doing gestures, and then based on what
Pointing
what your head is looking at, we build the environment around that.
Come on. This way.
You completed the cinematic.
Yeah, and this is where the obsession completely takes over, where it's like we can go for Tommy or we can go for Abby, but we can't do both. And Ellie rationalizes that going after Abby would be the better choice.
The marina through here.
We're taking a boat.
You heard them, right? They're talking about Tommy.
We don't know that.
Who else is it gonna be?
If it is him, he'll be gone by the time
And
we
it's
get
so fascinating to think about someone that just has put so much weight of like people being honest to each other, and here she's lying to Jesse and lying to herself.
Yeah, I
you know?
think so much of it is her own avoidance.
You do this, I'm not saying.
And now Jesse just sees how dangerous she's become in this obsession, and she's losing even him, and it's so hard to lose Jesse. Yeah, and a lot of the construction of this game was these long stretches where Ellie would just be by herself. So to put these scenarios where we separate her from the people that love her, and wanting the player to feel as alone as she does.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic.
People don't come back from that island.
The roughest scene in the game? Ugh.
And one of them,
I'm not fucking going there.
Then don't.
Ashley Birch, Patrick Fugit.
seeing these glimpses of this other crew and not quite understanding what this fight is about or what the conflict is.
Hands up.
And only later just getting the rest of the context. And this is Ellie trying to be Joel. Ellie trying to do the Joel technique of... And this is another one of the situations where Ellie doesn't want to kill them. She just wants Abby. But the situation gets away from her. I love that she's just on razor's edge of just her emotions completely taken over.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't quite, because she's inexperienced in this type of behavior, she doesn't quite have the calm, cool, and collected way of doing it like Joel did.
What are you doing?
Yeah, and we wanted in this exploration of, the pursuit of justice at any cost, that to show that there's always a cost. And, in the cycle of violence, there's often unintended consequences. And the idea that Ellie inadvertently kills a pregnant woman just felt like a great metaphor for that. But it definitely horrified some of the people at the studio that heard this pitch.
Yeah. It's an interesting question of, at this point in Ellie's obsession, what could she see that would make her pause, that would make her seriously question after torturing Nora, after leaving Dina behind?
Well,
You need something big
yeah.
to wake her up.
And I love how you play this panic attack right here. And just the audio design for it as well. And we do this trick when Tommy comes in. We actually recorded a line with Troy. So she hears Joel for like a split second. So you show like all these things are just interconnected in her mind now. All these like traumatic events.
Yeah, she's not built for this.
And just show what a good guy Jesse is. It's like he went and got Tommy and said, "We got to hurry and get to Ellie at the aquarium."
Let's go.
And this was another like clue chain thing we needed to do to set up for later with Abby, is the idea that Ellie has this map, and in the chaos of this whole moment, she dropped it and didn't even realize it.
Skip cinema. You completed the cinematic. Replay. Next.
It's not gonna work. It's completely covered in snow.
Nah, by the time we get there, this whole area will be thawed.
Yeah, this is a bunch of obsessed characters, except for Jesse. Jesse is the most moral character in the story.
What are you guys doing?
That all have to accept
Couldn't sleep.
that it's time to go home.
Come take a look at
That
this.
it has to be okay if
Thought is to head home via Ellen.
some of them get away with it.
We're in Fall City by tomorrow. We're doing good.
It's like these two, they have to convince each other.
Hey. They got what they deserved.
Yeah,
But she gets to live.
so much, so much pent up energy under that line.
He's still not on board. He's like, well,
There is something interesting about how, like, Ellie doesn't
Is
see
that okay?
living as the punishment it is. Like, living with loss is the punishment it is, even though it's destroying her. In a weird way, for Ellie, like, it would almost be. She's suffering so much, and there's no peace, but she doesn't see that enough to say, I'm okay with Abby living with that level of suffering.
oh, yeah.
And losing
Oh, yeah.
everyone she loves. Like, I've made her life miserable. And that would be the triumph.
Yeah, in her mind, it's like she doesn't know what life she's living. She doesn't know what burden she's carrying. She's like, any kind of life, she hasn't paid the price for what she did.
It's funny, and yet Ellie is incapable of living herself, right? She's incapable of.
I know what
Yeah.
gold
It's
looks
interesting.
And this is Tommy just trying to make light of the whole thing.
Can we say it's from all of us?
like. Ha! You find your own damn bribes.
I really like this, the relationship between Ellie and Jesse and just how much respect they have for each other. I really like this moment right here.
How you doing?
Jesse's just kind of the best. He's the most mature, level, reasonable guy.
Ellie.
And Steven is such a cool dude.
Yeah.
Such a cool
He's
dude.
just
He's
super
like
chill and like, he's kind of like a cowboy.
Yeah, and he's
got,
like so
a-
positive too. He's
Yeah.
even when he'd be like, I'm real tired, real tired.
Because over the course of the game, he went from like newly married to having
Several children.
triplets?
Yeah, I think like several children.
My friends can't get out of their own damn way.
It's like my friend's problems are my problem. And it just, he puts everybody else over him.
He would have been a great baby daddy.
And no good deed goes unpunished.
Ugh,
Hands in the air, I shoot this
I
one
love how
time.
abrupt it is.
Do it, Ellie.
me too.
Get out of here.
Stand up, now!
Don't you fucking dare.
Shut the fuck up!
This is one of the few scenes that Ellie and Abby are together.
Stop!
And when we're making the game, it felt like we're making two very separate games
Yeah.
with two different casts of characters. And then when they combine, it was such a strange feeling.
Toss your weapon! I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did to save me. There is no cure because of me. I am the one that you want.
And she doesn't get it.
Just let him go.
She doesn't know what this is about.
You killed my friends. We let you both live. And you wasted it.
Cut to black.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay, next.
Dad?
Baby Abby.
You can tell because her braid is so much shorter.
It's interesting in hindsight now watching how when players do this, they think, oh, I'm just going to get a little bit of a glimpse into who she is. They don't know yet. You're only at the halfway point.
You completed the cinematic.
Abs?
And we're about to introduce Jerry the surgeon, played by Derek Phillips, who voiced the surgeon in the first game.
Right there.
Another fun fact is we originally cast him as Henry before we decided to drastically change those characters, and then gave him the role of the surgeon.
Believe it or not, they actually care about your safety.
These woods are
But that's before you knew that the second game was happening at all.
Yeah.
Right on the other side of those trees.
And?
She's due any day now. We'll just check on her and then we'll head back. I promise.
I like this role reversal where she's more the adult in this relationship.
See?
You're probably thinking about this surgeon that doesn't have much to do until Ellie shows up.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
Of course, the zebra comes because, again, this is part of the Salt Lake City Zoo where the giraffes escaped that we saw in the first game. Zebra, played by the wonderful Chris Robbins, who doubled for a lot of stunt work as well for many characters on this game and the first game.
I bet nobody ever asked him to be a zebra before.
No, but man, he did a good
nailed it.
job of being a zebra tied up in barbed wire. And he's like this big former football player, and he's just knocking everybody around here.
I love Pat just coming in like,
What's going on?
Like, yeah, what the fuck is this?
Come on. You got it tight?
right? And then this was originally a mini game where you had to cut the wires off of the zebra.
We worked on it for quite a while, and just
We
eventually.
did. That was a long scene of, okay, now hold still.
Yeah.
Right there, that little slip in the mud. Again, that's hand animated.
Fuck.
What the fuck?
Hey, wait.
And then it's like, again, it's like the dad is acting like a child.
Come on.
And this was a stitch point because, again, the volume can only take you so far, and those stitches can be really tricky. But it was important in this project to always go outside the volume and just not make you feel. A lot of games, the performers could feel really constrained, like they're in a box. I wanted it to feel freer than that.
The one Marlene keeps talking about. They found her in the tunnels. She has an old bite mark on her arm. No signs of infection. That can't be. They're already running tests on her, but you gotta get down there.
Now there's like this glimmer of hope with Ellie and revealing that we're in that same giraffe location. All this beauty and wonderment happened in the first game.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
We always stick to the POV of the character you're playing as. So this was like why we're coming into this conversation late, is because you're hearing it when Abby hears it.
She's a child, not some petri dish.
You think I don't
Merle Dandridge. Come
This is
back.
my first day meeting Merle.
the situation?
And you're okay with killing.
No, I'm okay.
Like Merle and I had so many conversations about how conflicted she was about what that has to happen, and then years later to visit the moment when she was arguing with Jerry.
Asking me? Are you telling me this is how it's gonna
I
be?
always like that we get more insight into these characters.
To buy in.
And what if this was
I like seeing Marlene advocate for Ellie behind the scenes because
Yeah.
she's so resolved in the first
That we've been
game
through
and the
all
show, and to
sacrifices,
see
all
that
the work,
actually privately she was advocating.
all of that is justified with this one act. And this was your daughter.
And the parallel here with Jerry from the first game is he's repeating everything that Ellie says right outside on the giraffe sequence in the first game, which is like, all the sacrifices we've made, it can't be for nothing.
Abby,
He's making the same exact argument Ellie does. And then Abby walks in to give her dad an out.
Look, Marlene.
And Marlene is done arguing, especially in front of his daughter.
Thank you. I'm gonna go tell Joel. Why?
The ethical thing Marlene does here is like, I have to tell Joel, which is ultimately her fatal mistake.
Yeah.
I guess Jerry's fatal mistake too, but he allowed it to happen.
You're doing the right thing.
She sees how conflicted her dad is, and she tries to tell him it would be okay. I would want you to do it to me. And he can never admit that he wouldn't.
You don't think so?
Well,
I think he would.
that's what I love about this. It's like, but he never says it.
Yeah, he just kind of has that look of,
Maybe he's just glad that it's not her.
Yeah.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
Is he still in the fucking building?
Oof.
Abby. Don't look.
We can't spare any of our characters from seeing the trauma firsthand.
Yeah.
Joel with Sarah, Ellie with Joel, Abby with Jerry. And it's just this shared trauma between these characters, and now events are set in motion.
You completed the cinematic.
And now we get to see the other side of what happened after Abby kills Joel.
Please stop. Please don't.
Forget again, this is such a collaborative process. I don't even remember where some ideas come from, if it was editorial.
I think it was editorial.
Yeah, but to see the scene again from Abby's perspective and now get the fuller context, which is the whole concept of this game of like, you have one notion of how things go down, and then we give you more context and make you question your initial feelings about it.
Whoa, what are you doing? Manny. Cleaning up. No.
You remember how hard Pat pushed
Alejandro.
He's right. We can't have loose ends.
Yeah,
We killed them. We're no
They're
better than
also good, but Pat specifically would just kind of lose himself in these moments.
Look at my face. Fuck your face. You should have been guarding the upstairs like I told you to. Move! Back up.
Calm down.
Or what? Back the fuck up!
Calm down!
Now then! You gonna shoot me?
Stop! We're done.
There's your fatal mistake.
done.
Not cleaning up your mess.
Seattle Day 1. You completed the cinematic.
And now, back to day one. And this is where I think the penny drops for most players that, oh my God, I'm going to have to replay this entire sequence from the other side. This was fun. City of Thieves was highly inspirational for the first game, written by Game of Thrones co-showrunner David Benioff. And I wanted to put it in the game, and I had just started working with Craig Mazin on a TV show, and he's friends with them. I'm like, can you ask them? He's like, oh, of course. And within 5 minutes, I had like a text message like, yeah, no problem, put it in the game.
Now?
Yes. Vámonos.
Okay.
You completed.
I love that Abby and Manny are roommates, that they're just bros. Gender means nothing.
It's crazy because we were filming it. I always thought of Manny as this like really fun loving. He is. He's this really fun guy, right? I even like registered the fact that he had in that scene, like he had spit on Joel. And so when I played it and he had done that, I was so angry at the character that it took so long to remember that he was a cool guy. A cool guy.
Why would it
be up to Owen.
The irony that Ashley Birch, who plays Mel, has to play pregnant, while you, Laura Bailey, were pregnant.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select. Replay. Next.
We're almost there.
From a writing standpoint, this is hard, because we're introducing a brand new cast of characters that we're asking you to care about, and we're building a mission a quest about Owen that's not really related to the revenge quest you just played half the game with. But there's just a lot of track we have to lay to then get the interesting payoffs. Just showing how close these people that came from the Fireflies are. That despite that they're in a group that's very tribalistic, they have their own tribe within that.
And they can be very upset with each other, but there's a protectiveness of their own group.
This was hard on the dev side of, we captured a scene and we're like, okay, here you see a tower, and now you're gonna pass the gate. And then we had to build all this real estate of this drive that's based on how much performance we have from you all.
Oh, God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. And we iterated a lot on just this layout and this turn and like, okay, when should the truck stop? And then they have to add all the secondary motion to you all, like, because we're not an actual truck when we shoot this.
But we all just kind of did this little shimmy shake as we were in that.
But we did shoot this with Roach, the dog.
Roach the dog, we did.
Remember when Roach would...
In his mocap suit?
And in his mocap suit, playing Alice.
And the whole set would just...
Right, fall in love
Just
with
take
Roach.
pictures, just take selfies with Roach.
That's seriously, like, Roach days were just...
They were the best days.
They were the best.
Thanks again, guys.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue.
Neil, do you remember there was originally a storyline where Mel was actually closer with Jerry because they worked so closely together, and there was like some level of contention, historical contention between Mel and Abby for his affection.
Right.
And we scrapped that because Mel needed to be so likable because she's such a hindrance to Abby's happiness.
I'll just be here, relaxing.
Nora, have you had a chance to relax?
I'm shipping out to the West Side Hospital in a few.
You completed the replay. Next. X button. Replay. Next.
Poor Danny. This is where Abby gets such a relief that it's not Owen, because this whole time there's this dread building that she thinks she's about to see Owen's body.
Where's Owen?
I don't know. A few days back, there were some scar sightings out by the marina.
Character model has incredible arms.
Yes, I was
Incredible
just looking at her arms. I mean, everybody talks about Abby's arms, but
yeah, but damn.
Nora's arms.
Nora's the sleeper.
With a bullet in his stomach.
In this scene, we finally establish what's about to become Abby's next goal, which is rescue Owen. And we come back to the theme of this
What about Owen?
this series, which is love.
But he gave me that fucking look, and then he told me to keep quiet about it. Which
This is
means
one
you
more
can't
example of the tribe within the tribe of she's telling them stuff they should not know. Because she trusts them, she cares for them more than she cares for the wolves, the WLF.
Where is Isaac?
Now we gotta go see the big man.
Last I heard, he was in the apartments.
It's kind of cool to, again, build this guy up and then give you a glimpse of the person that runs the WLF.
You know what you guys find out?
Yeah.
You completed the cinematic.
Hey, Abby.
We need to go up.
Isaac's in there.
Oh.
This was another one of those sequences where we didn't want to be confined to the volume. If I remember correctly, we mapped out with tape on the floor, like this floor. Then you go into just a marked area that's going to be the elevator, and then you come out, and the whole place is marked differently when you're in Isaac's suite.
Sir, Abby and Manny are here.
And here we have the fantastic and very scary Jeffrey Wright.
Don't let him fall asleep.
There's a dehumanization that happens when you're in conflict with another group for so long, and there's so many like retributions that they get to a place where you can't torture them because they're so dehumanized. And we get to see how easy it is for Isaac now that he just sees them as pure enemies. We met Jeffrey Wright because his son was such a big fan of the first game. And talking to him, I offered him this role, and he was very excited to take it on. So it was fun to work with him, even if a little intimidating at times, just because his gravelly voice is so creepy.
What's going on, boss? These small skirmishes. Can't keep going like this. Then what?
This was another obstacle we're throwing in Abby's way, which is, in the past, Isaac has given her a lot of rope because of how capable she is to pursue Joel. But here, he can't afford to have anybody leave because they're going to go all out to kill every last scar, as he would call it.
Sir, we try attacking their island.
I remember in like early iterations of the script, having a bunch of scenes, not a bunch, but having scenes with Isaac, where he was very much a mentor for her and almost like a surrogate father figure as she was growing up.
Those were early versions of the story where just in trying to shrink this behemoth down, we end up cutting. But the other thing you could see here is Jeffrey Wright has a limp. And the reason for that is if you look at the concept art, he has an amputated leg. And there's no opportunity to really see it, but the limp is still there.
Is someone okay?
And then we did so many takes, and Jeffrey insisted on eating an apple on every take just to make it authentic. So he ate a bunch of apples.
To Laura's point, we wrote scenes. I remember drafting scenes where he's coming in as trying to be sort of a Tommy, like a father figure after she's lost her dad. And you come to realize how intimate their relationship is, but it's something that she will very quickly give up in the face of Owen being in trouble. And as soon as she connects with Lev, again, she's willing to give that up. But couldn't do it for time.
You get little hints of it because I feel like our relationship in this scene, you can see that he's given her things in the past. She's used to being able to
get her way.
And that one line, the way he lives it, like, stop gossiping about it. Like, the idea of that you guys need to stop, like, being this, like, Salt Lake City crew. You're part of a bigger group now.
Yeah.
There are things more important.
And we'll get to the bottom of it.
And even here, he's, like, saying, when the time comes, we'll do what's right.
Yeah, at this point, you find him to be, I think, torturing aside, like, he's a very fair leader with her. He's given her a lot, and then now he expects her to step up for ultimately, a 3-day assault.
The way he behaves, again, this is like we're on a broken record, which is he loves his people. He's going to go commit atrocities because of how much he loves the people that look up to him.
He's going to burn a village filled with children.
Right.
No way Owen killed Danny over some scar, right? What? No. Abby, don't.
I'll be back by morning. You just gotta cover me till then.
Isaac will kick your ass.
Not before the assault. You heard him.
Abby doesn't care about this assault in the same way that Joel didn't care about finding a cure. It's just about the people that are close to us. And now we head into her head for flashback.
The most fun scenes to shoot.
You completed the cinematic.
Stop it.
This was fun, watching you two be so playful.
They were like a little respite from all of the
horror.
the horror that we were shooting.
And again, establishing Abby has vulnerabilities, right? Not just emotionally, but she has a deep, deep, deep fear of heights, which then gives Lev an opportunity to help her.
Just interesting, these characters that here with Owen and then the other time with Joel, when he takes Ellie to the museum, of these gifts that they give the people that they love. And here it's like he brought her to show her this beautiful aquarium as a show of his love.
Well, he's trying to, right, in the same way as Joel after David, he is trying to get back to the Abby that was. He's trying to get back to the dynamic that they had. And he's putting all of his heart into bringing her joy in the hopes that he can get confirmation that that person is not dead.
It's getting late.
Yeah.
We had these long talks about how Abby, like, is so serious and doesn't want to joke around. She's not a jokester. And I think Pat just like took that and ran, because every single time we would shoot, he would try to make me laugh as we were shooting as like a challenge.
I'm serious. I will break up with you. Owen.
I always loved you.
Don't! Owen!
It is like, at this point, Abby also, I think, is trying to be the person everybody wants her to be. She's trying to be the old version of Abby. She's trying to be the loyal soldier to Isaac, who has given them a home and a purpose. She's still figuring out who this new version of her is.
Reinforcing her fear of height.
When we shot that, though, do you remember how pregnant I was?
Remember how terrified I was because you're jumping off this like 2-foot platform.
It had to be. It was higher than 2 feet, right?
3
Tell
feet.
me it was higher than
3
2 feet.
feet. But then every time you landed hard on the ground, I'm like, oh my God, a baby's going to fall out of her.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select.
This was like a nice, short and sweet little cinematic.
Also a fun thing to shoot when you're like coming up from underwater.
And then I remember you have to do this prep as if you're diving and transition in and out of gameplay.
Uh-huh.
I like these kind of air pockets that would still have remained here. As you held your breath a lot while
Yes.
shooting some of these scenes.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button.
I love this scene.
Yeah, this whole sequence is for this scene. Nick, but poor Owen loves Abby so much, and she's just so stuck with this, well, grief, I guess, that she can't let go. The injustice that she can't let go.
You could argue that what Owen is going through is a smaller version of what Abby is going through, right? Like, he's in love with this girl. He's fixated on her. He's ready to go on this journey with her and risk things for her, and all he wants in return is a little bit of love. And she just can't. She can't. This is just, she's not the person she was anymore.
It's this notion that somehow, if she's happy, she's disrespecting the loss of her father.
Yeah.
You want me to slow down?
No.
She can't allow herself to be too happy.
Is it this?
And he's still trying to make light of it. Look at him.
He's so cute.
We're disgusted by it.
Patrick Fugit is a very charming man.
Very.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. Talk to me.
Just let him in.
I know all the leads have dried up. But Joel's still out there, you know?
I know.
And we get the sense that this is not the first time they're having this conversation.
No, this is the end of their intimate relationship, right? He's
Yeah.
going to try and move on
This is
with Mel. It's not going to work out.
This is the breakup scene.
Not how he envisioned this moment going, I have
No.
a feeling.
What about you?
I kind of this idea, like, look what I brought you. I brought you underwater. What else can I do?
Yeah, hang out
There
with
are
the
seals swimming around.
It's just not enough.
So sad.
I mean, it's very much a parallel to what we see, a much worse version of this in Ellie on the Farm with Dina.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I told you already. Don't be sorry.
You completed the cinematic.
Flashback number 2 for Abby.
Yeah. So this scene also, the sequence had to do a lot of work because we're, once again, resetting. You have to learn where she and Owen are in their relationship, feel that tension, feel the family dynamics.
Owen!
He's so surprised to see her.
Hey.
Hey. Is everything all right?
Yeah.
I love the set, man. The set took so many
Forever,
iterations to get right,
forever.
but it was really important that it felt gorgeous. Justify why this guy has holed up in here for so long.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next.
What is all this? Festive.
You gotta get the full effect.
This is our Christmas episode.
Take in that view.
A thing you might not appreciate until you sort of really play this is this aquarium had to meet so many different needs because it's in so many different
Right.
levels. And so to make sure that all of those could work together was painstaking, especially for the layout designers.
Yeah, well, try that. Well?
The view is nice.
Oh, whatever. Philistine.
You want me to lie?
Yes, obviously. She's into this Christmas thing.
And again, look at this effort he puts in.
Yeah, there's this a beautiful tension between these characters that still clearly very much love each other.
But he did this for Mel, right?
Yeah,
this is
this
for
was-
Mel.
Right, but look how excited he is that Abby's here.
I know. He's trying to
I
move on.
doubt he's this excited when Mel's here.
You don't deserve
Poor Mel.
But I think
Poor
he
Mel.
wants to be, right? I think he
Yeah.
wants to move on with Mel. He
'Cause
knows
he's-
she's inaccessible.
Well, yeah, Abby's a dead end.
Why are you in such a good mood?
Am I?
I love that he misreads this. Like he thinks this is somehow about him and now he's going to convince her to stay. But she's in a good mood because
I found Joel's brother.
they found Joel's brother.
He's at a settlement out in Wyoming.
How do you know that?
The fireflies who served with him got picked up at the wall.
I thought he quit like a decade ago.
Yeah.
So, have these guys heard from him since?
It's a lead.
New notification. Dual sense wireless controller battery level is low.
But even if he is there, and you do find him, he might not know where Joel is, right?
Right, because at this point, we're already... Canonically, he's already starting to have issues killing scars.
Everyone's on board.
And we're not really talking about it, but there's some track getting laid. He's losing his taste for violence.
I like that he was the last person that she went to go talk to about
That many
this.
people go off base.
He already did.
Bullshit.
Who's more about justice than Isaac? He knows what Joel's done. Hey. We're doing this together, right?
I love that look. It's like, you promised me. If we get like any clue, you promised me. He doesn't want to be the last holdout.
But he's like Jesse. He's never not gonna go if his people are going.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue.
Oh, the Paris sequence.
This scene.
Oh, yes.
Was this one of the first things we
Yes,
shot?
yeah, because it was for Paris Games Week.
Paris Games Week, yeah.
We shot this way in advance.
I think it was like a day or two before we shot this that I'm like, we could do this all as one shot. And like I had sketched out like these kind of storyboards real quick, and then came up with this hazy plan with Matt Neapolitan, our cinematographer for this game.
Like take after take of getting dragged by your arms.
This was another one where we actually strung Laura up with, we had like two ropes, one that was around your neck to just give you a little bit of tension that you could lean into as much as you wanted, and then another one that held your body up in the air.
Yeah.
Oh, but man, this was so much work, and like we scrutinized the tiniest details in the scene.
When this came out originally, people thought that she was
Anna.
Anna.
That she was Ellie's mom.
We were watching the narrative of how Ellie came to be.
And these seraphites that at times you might feel sorry for them and you see them getting tortured.
And
then see that, you know...
Oh, wait a minute.
Here, the lead Seraphites in the scene is played by Emily Swallow in Small World. She's of Mandalorian fame, acting along Pedro Pascal. And later we find out this is a bastardization of this thing of like freedom so they may know my love wasn't meant as like disembowel them.
Free them, that they may know my...
Intro of Victoria Grace plays Yara.
Yeah, this scene has a lot of heavy lifting. It's introducing like two major characters of Yara and Lev. Again, this idea that keeps repeating in this story of like the tribe within a tribe, that even though these are all Abby's enemies, Seraphites, somehow they have it in for these two kids.
And again, this is one of those weird opportunities, I know it sounds dark, but like in seeing the violence against these kids, it's much easier to immediately understand why Abby makes the choices she makes. They may be their enemy, but these are kids getting hurt.
Lighting a scene is really hard. Lighting a scene that's one take, where the camera's constantly moving around in 360 degrees and making sure all those angles still look good, is close to impossible. So kudos to our lighting team.
The face change, is she, ugh.
The face change, the flow of blood, the water, there's so many things that done improperly would take you out of the scene. And then we spent a lot of time, even to the hands right there, I remember we spent so much time making sure you see the tension in the hands as she's suffocating. The shirt, and make sure the shirt felt wet and it's sticking to her skin. and it's a little bit translucent because it's wet. That's the kind of detail that Naughty Dog is crazy about.
Demons are coming.
So this is the introduction of Ian Alexander, and a fun thing to watch as you watch his face throughout the game is, I think it was lead character Ashley Swadowski came up with it, but if you look at his scars, one of them is a little crooked and wobbly, and the idea that like you see there's physical representation of his hesitation in this religion, even on the scars face.
And yet, I think the beautiful thing with him is that he remains a believer all the way through.
Yeah. His faith partly saved him, right? Because he saw the beauty in the intention.
Watch your backs.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue next.
Lock it.
Another scene that just, I say this over and over, but it's such beautiful, soft lighting.
Right, and so at this point, they've worked together for as long as they need to, but they're off to go on their separate missions. They don't need to be friends.
Come help me with this.
That taking off of the shirt is so hard. I can't tell people how hard it is. The raindrops again, this window were difficult. My high school friend has become a renowned plastic surgeon, Jacob Steiger. And he gave me some advice here on this injury and what you would need to do to treat it.
Right, and this is also a reminder that while Abby took a different path, she comes from doctors, from care. She understands the body, even if she never particularly prioritized it.
Victoria and Ian were great in this. Just how Ian has to play both being scared for his sister and just angry at this wolf that he has to work with.
What's your name?
This is a recurring theme throughout both games, that the idea of giving someone's name is a way to show you trust them.
Thanks for cutting me down.
Love this theme again.
I like the conflict of leaving them, knowing you're dooming them.
Oh, this is... She thinks, I'll give them the warning and that'll be enough.
Sarah gets a lot of traffic. Whatever shape she's in, we need to get out of here by tomorrow.
I don't need your fucking help. The lighting on the hair. This game is still very impressive.
You completed the cinematic.
Owen?
This scene turned out to be a bit more controversial than we anticipated.
The irony here is, as much as this is the counterpoint sex scene to Ellie's sex scene, we don't... Oh, I guess we do show a little more.
We show a little bit more.
Yeah. He didn't.
Well, we'll get to that in a second, but
What is all this?
I love this interplay between you two.
Apart. I'm gonna fix her back
And
up.
I see.
yeah, we really wanted to give Pat something meaty. And this monologue, which he just, for my money, knocked it out of the park.
Danny's dead.
Of like visualizing this moment where he just can't do this violent thing anymore. It's not him.
You want to tell me what happened?
I like that she's been strung up and beaten and almost killed, and
We were
none of that's important right now.
Camp. It's just a couple scars, and
And I just got to come in and sit down and watch him work.
And he goes down, and his weapon's right
And this
there.
idea of the tribe within a tribe, and
He doesn't go for it.
there's no secrets between these two.
Instead, he turns to me. And he's old.
The idea that he's just been sitting here drinking, conflicted, and I mean, he's about to leave his baby mama. That's how much he can't stay in this place. He feels like he's losing his soul. And this look right here, it's like there's a part of Abby that knows what he's saying is true. But that sense of duty to this group that has taken care of them is still there, but starting to erode.
I couldn't do it. Of course, Danny gets in my fucking face about
We're watching her maturity in real time.
Especially having come of seeing two seraphites up close and saving them too.
So I grab it, and then
I like that there's so much like unspoken between them that's about to come to the surface of like Abby thinks he's so naive and he thinks what she did was so awful, but clearly they've never talked about it until now. And then there's the underlying love they have for each other and obviously attraction. It's all like, it's so messy. I like the messiness of this relationship. And it would have been like, I know our goal here is to create empathy for Abby, to show you the other side of this journey. And this definitely was a risk to say, okay, she's going to have a sort of affair with this guy that got this other girl pregnant, her friend.
The fireflies aren't.
But this primal thing that's going on between them just overpowers logic.
it's a lead.
And to me, that was more important to create empathy, is to show how human they are than to just make them righteous or right the whole time.
No, they're trying to define good in a gray world.
What about Mel?
And that means they have to make messes.
This little pause, that's a nice bit of acting.
She'll be safe here.
Okay. We'll talk in the morning when you're sober.
Don't do that.
Do what?
Treat me like I'm fucking insane. You feel the
He
same.
knows her more than she knows herself.
If the fireflies are in Santa Barbara, I go the opposite fucking direction.
And the resentment that she has for the fireflies, because in her mind, that's part of the reason her dad died, is...
What?
They failed her.
Yeah. They failed in every way.
Yeah.
Sorry I grew up. You should try it.
It's just the insulting and just...
Oh yeah, how do I do that?
And this notion that's like your best friends can hurt you the most.
Cut into them. I could torture them until they're crying, you know?
And the flash of violence here, of anger, is like... Abby never talks about it, but clearly she is haunted by what she did to Joel.
Yeah. And he's finally seeing that.
Yeah, and then once they touch, it's over.
I think they're both incredibly lonely characters.
Yeah. Yeah, he's in this other relationship, but clearly he's lonely, and he's been longing for her. And I know people ask this question, why show this? Why you could end the scene right here.
I disagree, though.
But I disagree as well, because I think it's important to show the
conflict.
vulnerability, how vulnerable these characters can be with each other. But there's also, again, it's messy and dirty and loving and a little violence at the same time.
My philosophy on sex scenes is you should take them to the point where you've gotten all the information needed or the emotional evolutions needed. And in this case, I think you needed to see her conflicted and give in.
Yeah, surrender to the moment.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay, next, replay, next.
This was a concept we came in quite late of showing a nightmare. But showing that now that this nightmare that she's having about her dad is now switched. And this like burn that Owen has on his bag. This was another Ashley Swedowski idea that, like we do environmental storytelling, we could do stuff on the body or through scars or disfiguration that tells you a story.
I love that at her core, Abby is a protector.
Mm-hmm.
She's Joel.
She's Joel.
Yeah.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select. Replay. Next.
Right, so now the dread, she's too late.
Don't come any closer. It's me.
I like the change that Lev goes through here. Like, he's relieved to see her, and he's ashamed that he hasn't been able to protect his sister.
I really like her trigger etiquette. She took her finger off that trigger as soon as she heard his voice. Classy.
Good job, Laura.
Good job, Laura.
There's this little bit of storytelling of the jacket on top of her, that now she's feverish. Sometimes we get these unintentional parallels. Like this one comes to mind of Ellie in Winter needing medicine for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
And now this is about to become a goal for Abby and Lev.
I think that one of the things about this game that I like is it just keeps reminding you in how many ways we are fragile.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select.
This is one of the ththings I did for
Owen!
training when I started working out for Abby. My husband Travis got me a 100-pound sandbag.
Have to carry.
And I had to carry it.
Oh, damn.
And then I got pregnant.
Put the phone down. It's okay.
This is a neat moment, right? These dogs have been trained to like tear scars apart, and now they're here.
Lev, lower the bow. It's okay. Abby, who are these kids? They saved my life.
I mean, this is probably the first time they've ever come this close to Seraphites without fighting them.
I wonder if Owen right now is thinking, like, I mean, I said not kill them. We don't have to, like, fucking go this far.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't me.
Mel's like, yeah, right.
Slow down.
I don't know, it doesn't look that bad.
It's just a little pink.
It's just
It's
a
a
little
tan.
smooshy.
Yara. No. I was gonna clean it and try
The
resetting.
bone's shattered.
Like, there's a moment here that I always find funny where, like, Owen tries to suggest, like, just cutting it and burning it.
What does that mean?
And Laura, you just make him feel like an idiot.
It has to come off.
She's a soldier. You can't take her arm. We leave it, it'll turn gangrenous.
What I love in this scene is even though Mel has very little dialogue outside of tending to Yara, you can see in her performance, in Ashley Birch's wonderful performance and her body language, that she is very much soured to Abby since last we saw her. And hopefully it's very subtly asking the question of how much does Mel know?
She would die from infection.
You fucking moron.
Make me a list. I'll go to the hospital. I'll get everything all day to get there. I don't mind.
It's not about you, Abby. She doesn't have a couple of days.
What if I can get you there in 2 hours?
Abby is like such a
Hospital, right?
singularly minded
On the west side?
person. Like, when she gets fixated on something, nothing will get in her way.
I don't know anyone else like that.
High up, it's how we get around the flooding and you people.
Can't you handle 2 hours?
Probably, yeah.
This idea of the sky bridges and that wolves never look up. It's actually it's an idea we got from our focus test, is that we build these elaborate levels, and then we find players look left and right and almost never turn the camera upwards.
Oh, wow.
So there's this idea that they're patrolling these streets and they never look up to see these secret paths that the Seraphites are using.
Abby.
Oh yeah, you calling Abby right now?
Look at the way Mel's looking at him.
Hey.
There's also, again, it's kind of a messy theme, but the idea of that we've done certain things and it feels like we can never get past them. And for Owen, it's like, oh, I got this girl pregnant. Does that mean this relationship is doomed and it could never happen? That's the way Abby sees it. But for his mind, it's like nothing is ever final. There's always a chance for like a new beginning.
Well, I do.
It's a nice, sweet little moment.
And Lev's just like,
Well,
I'm
like,
not
oh,
here.
shit, well,
I
I just
am not
went.
here.
There's so much unsaid that, again, we have the privilege at Naughty Dog being able to capture the such small nuances of your performance that we don't have to rely on dialogue as much.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
Her worst fear realized.
Yeah. Can you imagine how bad that would smell?
I like that Abby is like, let me recover from near death. And Lev's like, I'm good, let's go.
And he's just staring
just
at her
bounces.
awkwardly.
It was so great on the stage. Looking up and just seeing him.
Can I get a minute? Please.
Okay, but I'm going to keep staring at you awkwardly.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Just back up one step.
The sequence between Abby and Lev used to be shorter, significantly shorter, and Lev used to be the one that died and Yara survived. And it's because we saw the dynamic between you two.
Oh,
that
really?
It caused us to have this ripple effect that changed the story and eventually led to us changing the ending and having Abby survive.
What? Really?
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic,
Spores. Masks on.
So this is my favorite level in the whole game. And narratively, this level had to do a lot of work, not just because,
We were on the run.
hey, now we're going to learn more about Seraphite culture and what this is and who Lev is. But this level has to ultimately earn Abby's willingness to walk away from the wolves.
If you die, I'll be stuck here.
We better start praying I make it.
She has
I
to
like
build love.
The banter that's forming between these two characters. That as they get more comfortable with each other, they're okay insulting each other in this funny way.
You completed the cinematic. You can either 3 semi-auto rifle ammo.
Got you a present. Here.
We're taking too long.
Can't move any faster. We won't do your sister any good if we're both dead. There. We got this.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue.
This is as far as you go.
Wait, why?
Because they want to kill you.
I like that he has no idea what backgammon is.
What's backgammon?
It's an interesting dynamic because he's been so secluded from the world. He knows even less than Ellie did in the first game. Which makes you think about, like, you know, if we were to come back years later, people that would be born years and years later, like, just the world we know seems more and more distant.
You completed the cinematic. You can
Hey.
Beat a girl.
Abby.
Oh.
Now from the other side.
They got you out here too. Yeah, what a haul. I need some medical supplies. Can you put me where I'm supposed to?
Abby, just checked in with Isaac. He wants you back at the farm.
Let me talk to Isaac.
Talk to him in person. You're going back for the next shipment.
You're fucked.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
She's been AWOL.
Trying to look confident, though, you guys. Tell by my body posture.
Give me your hands.
She's not yet willing to
Fight them. She's surrendering to them. They're not her enemy yet.
Just staring daggers into his face, though. Like, are you really gonna do that?
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the
Hey! Hey! Let me the fuck out! God damn.
You're gonna dislocate your shoulder.
Chelsea Tavares
I never thought I'd see you on Isaac's bedside.
did a really fantastic job as Nora. It was important that all of you had really good chemistry. That's just, you have to sell years of friendship in very short scenes.
I need some medical supplies.
Why? What happened to him?
And again, this just myopic focus.
Compartment syndrome. Bashed forearm.
You're not treating him, are you?
Mel.
But she's not right. Interesting that even here, that these people love each other. That there's tribe within a tribe. Because she's lying to Nora.
We haven't cleared out the lower floors yet.
Would they have what I need?
The build up for the scariest fight.
We're about to get into our Resident Evil homage.
I'll be fine.
She's so cool.
You get caught.
Nora?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, this will bite you in the ass. But, alright.
You completed the cinematic. You can
Like that she's ready to pummel whoever it is that grabbed her. And this is something we'll see with Yara later as well, which, like, these kids are told to stay put, and they're starting to care so much for Abby, they don't stay put.
They're all looking for you. What did you do?
Nothing. I told you to stay put.
I couldn't. Your friends are all over the place.
I really like the glue that happens between this scene and the next, and showing this river rapids ride, and it has very much this Apocalypse Now feeling that you're cruising through a war-torn area.
This game is so ugly.
This was this little sequence. I think this was suggested by Joe, our editor on this game. I love these murals.
Yeah.
You completed the cinematic.
Sometimes these like kind of connecting shots I find really beautiful. Just giving you a little bit of a gap in time.
Now this shifted relationship with Lev and Alice.
Oh yeah, and
And
Lev's
it's
just
like-
been taught to fear those dogs.
Right.
They just rip them apart.
And another example of just the beauty of animals in this world and how they represent innocence.
Gorgeous baby.
I'm staring at the animation on the fingers and how well done it is.
Yeah.
Well done. You can go see her now if you want.
Is she gonna be okay?
Yeah, actually.
All this time after what they did to Joel, after all the seraphites they've killed, finally meeting these two kids, just starts to put it all in perspective for Abby.
I know.
Her body figures it out before her head does.
What happened to us?
What happened to us, right? That's the most she's going to talk about, all these things that she's done.
Maybe we stopped looking for the light.
Maybe.
The idea that, you know, even when we fail, we still have to push forward for something better. That's what Owen represents.
I'm gonna go check on the girl.
Okay.
Something so beautiful and sad here when we reveal the missing arm and this exchange of a smile between these two characters. Another time I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just, I love showing off your performances with no dialogue. It just makes our job easier as writers. Just leave out the writing.
That's the secret to good writing. Leave out the writing.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select.
And finally, she has one good night of sleep.
Yeah, but consciousness is about to slap her in the face.
She's not going to come with you. I can convince her. We broke the rules tonight. That's all you care about.
Owen?
Just me.
Oof.
Yeah.
Like that Mel doesn't even, you're not even worth my time to talk about it.
Changing Yara's bandages.
But then she snaps.
She's so powerless in this situation.
What are they fighting about?
Fuck you, Yara. I wouldn't leave you behind.
Oh, and this was a fun beat because he did just learn how to say fuck you.
Owen invited them to come to Santa Barbara. That is very Owen.
She's trying to be jokey and connect with Mel.
Talked him out of going by now. Hoping that she doesn't know.
Right.
Actually, I'm going with them. But not if you come.
Oof.
What? He may fall for your little act with these kids, but I don't.
There's nothing to fall for.
Isaac's top scar killer suddenly had a change of heart.
It's such an insult, right? But it's like, she probably deserves it. But the idea that she's only being nice to these kids to earn favor with Owen.
You're
Yeah.
a piece of shit, Abby.
You always have.
It's so sad that she doesn't fight back because she probably agrees with her.
Oh, fully. Fully.
Well, I think Mel is also calling into question, like, can characters change? Can people change? We see it with Joel, but it happens so rarely, right? And so many of our characters are myopically focused and can't change no matter what. So I understand why she feels like this must be bullshit.
But she finally feels like, oh God, I'm doing the right thing. I'm finally doing the right thing. Maybe I can be better. And then like this
Right.
Instant back to reality.
I like that showing emotion in this world is somehow a weakness.
Nice shirt.
We iterated a lot on what was on that shirt. We had, I just
I was
remember we
just
had
thinking the same thing.
all these different designs that were just too distracting, and finally we ended up with something pretty subtle.
How's your arm?
Because she'd need an aquarium shirt.
Why does that otter look so sad?
Otter lost its arm too.
Lev coming around?
He will.
I remember a conversation I had with Victoria here about Yara's motivation, how she's she feels like she needs to repay Abby in some way, and she's complimenting her, and she's pulling her in to like find Lev, but more for Abby's sake than for actually finding Lev.
You completed the cinema.
Oh, this was a tough one to write.
Oh, yeah.
How is he doing this? Hey, do you think maybe he could convince your mom?
If she saw him like this, she'd strangle him with her bare hands.
The conflict between love and duty, of like the love a mom should have for her kids and the duty she has for her religion.
I heard some of your people calling him Lily.
I like here that Yara is the practical one. She sees the world as it is, and she sees the consequences as they are. And in some way, in another universe, she and Abby would be wonderful enemies. They are both strong, myopic soldiers, right? But for Yara, the risk to Lev's life is worth giving everything up.
I told him he had to keep it to himself.
And the guilt, right? This guilt here.
I was hoping he'd snap.
Well, it's that it's also Yara has greater love for Lev than their mom had for Lev. That this moment that she's describing here is what made her lose faith.
One of the men was suicide.
And we don't talk about it, but I think the difference that I see between Yara and Lev is that Yara has lost her faith, and Lev has just refocused it, went back to the origins, to the writings, and sees how it was corrupted.
I'm so stupid.
This is another one of those scenes. I thought Victoria here just knocked it out of the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't we find something to cheer him up?
I like these in these action games, sometimes having a goal of like, oh, let's find a toy to cheer up a kid. And that becomes your gameplay objective.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
What about this?
It's perfect. Mel's wrong.
Another brilliant thing Ashley Swadowski sort of conceived of is you watch the kids visually change and move away from scars over the course of this game. So here we see Yara is now dressed like a civilian, but she still wears the braids.
Sorry, I didn't realize you owned everything in the aquarium.
She's not fully letting go.
My aquarium, my stuff. I'm just kidding. Take whatever you want. You can't.
Have you seen Lev?
Yeah. He's down
Yeah, we're about to get into this conversation of, I mean, they're talking about their relationship, but thematically there's greater stuff here, which is, when are things too late? When have you gone so far that there's no coming back from it?
She couldn't tell I was joking.
They are very literal.
They're literal people.
I suck with kids.
It's funny he says he sucks with kids, but I think Owen would be a great dad.
Oh, I think he'd be an incredible dad.
Another world.
Coming to Santa Barbara, right?
I can't.
Why?
You know why.
He's such an optimist, right? He's about to talk about that. We'll figure it out. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
I know. I know it's a fucking mess. I know. But we can choose to be happy. Happy.
again, going back to something you said earlier, Neil, but it's like this idea that suffering is the way that we honor the dead.
I don't think Abby has fully admitted, like, no, I don't have a right to be happy. There's no.
Yeah.
Lem! Get back here! Lem! What's he doing? He's going after her.
After who?
His mom.
She's gonna kill him, Abby.
Is the boat ready?
Not yet.
How much time do you need?
A few hours.
This is their last conversation together.
She just had surgery. I'm fine.
How else am I gonna find him?
I'll go with you.
Owen?
They're heading to the fucking island.
Exactly.
I'm not gonna let her go by herself.
I think there's a part of Abby that knows she's about to head into a suicide mission.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And this is her forcing Owen to stay here.
She's really trying.
She's trying.
The irony is in staying here.
She
is
dooms
what-
them.
She
is what
abandons them, yeah.
Dooms him.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next replay. Next. Replay. Next.
I don't know when it is in gameplay that you realize, like, oh God, I killed them all as Ellie. You know what I mean? What did I do?
You completed the cinematic.
Is that a sniper rifle?
Uh-oh.
Stay on the dock. I'll go get a boat and pick you up here.
No, I can help.
Not with this.
Girl, you have one arm.
She is so tough.
She's badass.
But yeah, Abby doesn't want any more blood on her hands. So just like with Owen, she wants Yara to stay behind.
You completed the cinematic.
Get down! Abby, what the fuck?
Manny.
You by yourself?
Yeah.
I really like the dynamic between Abby and Manny.
Sniper's a fucking bro.
Just a couple of bros.
A couple of bros.
We were supposed to hit the island tonight. Then this pendejo showed up.
Tommy's so
I sent the
cool.
guy to call for help.
It's so interesting how very few players guessed that this was Tommy right
Oh,
here.
really?
Yeah.
I need one of those boats. Now.
Just because it's been so long and you forget about there's a whole other cast of characters that are on this island, and now these two stories are starting to merge.
Right, at first it feels coincidental, like, oh, she just happens on Manny. It's like, no, Manny was targeted.
You completed the cinematic.
The revelation, it's Tommy.
What? No wonder he was so good.
Like, oh right, this whole other game that's happening finally collides. If you don't see a character die on screen, you should always question their death. That music is so ominous. Like how she's just burying the death of her friend.
Yeah.
Just stay, again, she has this very narrow focused mind.
And the realization that it's all gonna come crashing down.
And the guilt, I would imagine, right? Like, the thing I would be burying in that moment is, oh, that's that guy? Oh, I'm complicit in the death of my friend.
You completed the cinematic. You can.
There's another one of those that's, if you were to see the making of, it'd be so funny because they're like, okay, and wave. And wave. And you act the physics of the boat. And then later, the animators like touch it up.
In the earlier days of this game, there were 5 days that the girls were sort of doing their thing in Seattle.
And now we're on their territory.
There was a whole day where Ellie would go to Scar Island to give you this opportunity to see them in the same nurturing way that we would see the stadium, where you get to see them take care of their children and their seniors, and you get to see them farming, and you get to see them be human people. But we cut it because ultimately it didn't shift Ellie's journey.
You completed the cinematic.
Oh, this scene.
This is a heavy scene.
Mm.
Unlike the rest of the game, which is just
A comedy.
that shift right there for Yara is really nice of going from grieving to protecting. Consoling, yeah, that's right. Those cuts.
And she knew it was going to happen. She knew that's what the outcome was going to be.
She started chasing
Lev's an optimist.
Trying to pick her stuff. I was just pushing her off of me. She hit the table.
With everything that baby Lev has been through in this past week, this is truly the death of his innocence.
Mm-hmm.
Now these three have become the us. And the WLF is about to become the them. There's this little connective tissue right here of, or this moment of connection between Abby and Lev that I love, that she hands him the bow. Just the exchange, again, this exchange between them.
My baby. Baby.
Sweet baby. All she can do is arm him.
You completed the cinematic.
This way.
Got one!
Oh, this is
the... Yeah. So right, originally you would come into this island, and this is where we would have killed Lev, and
Yeah.
we had these concepts of stone mound graves, and that you would find Lev being buried in one. But instead, we flippity-flopped it.
It's funny. It's like Abby stopping Lev from doing the thing she couldn't even do, is grieve for the person she loves. And there's our second Isaac scene.
Well, not a good look.
This was really fun watching you guys play. This back and forth. It's like every other time you've been able to reason with Isaac, but he's at the end of his rope.
He's not one of them, please.
Abby, move.
God damn it, he's just a kid.
Isaac doesn't see a kid, you know?
You have 3 seconds to get away from that scar. 1.
You really gonna shoot me?
2.
I'm not fucking moving.
That facial expression was great.
No! What the fuck?
And Jeffrey Wright gave us a lot of deaths, a lot of falling in all these different ways. I remember that. This was another one of those where we wanted to make the volume feel bigger and run with the characters. And then we had a hard time, I don't know how much you remember, Laura, of like getting this beat to land right here, this exchange between the two characters, until we somehow, I don't remember the exact order of events, but we came up with this line right here. You're my people.
Yeah, we were on the stage and it just wasn't quite working. And you came to me and you said, let's come up with let's brainstorm some other lines. And I said, you're my people. And you're like, okay, that's it. And you just walk back on set. And it really, it's become my favorite line in the game because it is, to me, it is the unifying idea.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the
This one here is actually one of my favorite scenes in this game.
I agree. This one's really great.
It's just the visuals, the
tragedy.
exchange, how far we've come. Just the idea that he's cold, the weather.
She's so Joel here. She's just such a dad here.
This is, again, this is one of those things that's very easy to write on the page. She takes her jacket off, she wraps it around Lev. Very hard to execute and make it look good. Look how she's looking at him.
Well, it's like now she's looking at a small version of herself, right? She
Yeah.
knows what it is to see your parent dead to see your world burn, and now she's just got to helplessly watch another person do it.
This is again where the two stories are barreling into each other. And we have a series of losses. I mean, there's this nice dramatic irony. The player already knows what's waiting for Abby inside, and they're like, oh my God, oh my God,
Yeah.
oh my God. And they're waiting to see how this
If they
plays out.
remember, a lot of people forget.
No,
But as soon as they see Alice,
Oh yeah, Alice is the
that's
trigger.
the giveaway. What can you say to someone that just lost his mom and his sister at the same moment?
You completed the cinematic.
Alice is the only dog that actually has to die in the game, which was a fun thing during press when people would be like, why do you want us to kill dogs? And it's like, you don't actually have to in any of the setups. They're all voluntary kills, but Alice is the only requisite one.
I'm pretty sure we're always careful to say you don't have to kill dogs, but we didn't say you don't have to kill a dog.
Dog. The cutest dog that you play fetch with.
Be careful.
This is, Laura, you make this look very easy, but this is a very hard scene, I think, watching from the outside to act, which is you have to go from grief to pure rage. I think, Hallie, this was your throwing up that you wrote into this scene.
Yeah, probably.
It's such a great visual of how much grief somebody can take before your body just rebels against it.
This little, the way he says Abby here.
Abby.
Almost afraid to show her this might lead to the people that did this. And of course, this was Ellie's mistake of dropping the map here in her panic attack. And and the music is doing a good job of just taking you internally into Abby's head. Now she's regressing back to the vengeful spirit she was before.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic.
Our main characters collide, or about to collide.
I think one of the things that makes Laura's performance here so special is that this character is so hard and so terrifying, but in every scene where Laura is scary, there's also this patina of vulnerability, of fragility that's coming through, where you can feel that she's quaking with rage, but there's so much complex stuff happening underneath that rage. It's really great. You're not bad.
It's funny because it's the same way I feel about Ashley's performance. So there's always this.
Just that rage feels so real.
She's so good too, like fucking one shot.
And again, from her perspective, it's Jesse's an NPC.
Yeah.
He means nothing to her.
Stand up! Now!
Don't you fucking dare!
Shut the fuck up! All right? Stop! Stop!
what is so beautiful here or tragic is that Ellie doesn't get it. Right? What Ellie's about to say here is like,
I know why you killed Joel. He did what he did.
well, he did it to save me. There's no cure because of me.
And Abby's like, what?
It's not
It's
about
not-
that. I don't know how much Abby cares about it. It's about her
Yeah.
dad.
You killed my friends.
Like, I showed you mercy.
And you wasted it.
And Claire's were so uncomfortable here. Like, I have to go up against Ellie now. And this is very much by design.
Who is scary.
She's wily, but you're beefy.
Stay here. Watch the exits. Don't let her leave.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
If I remember correctly, Ashley, we had you like have water in your mouth when you delivered some of the lines here. 'Cause your mouth is meant to be filled with blood.
Yes. Wow. Okay, because I remember I was, as my usual, I was like, why am I just laying here? I would try everything I could to try to get up and go save her. So I think the water and having that and having sort of showing or being able to hear how messed up Ellie is in that moment.
This is the other scene that lives in my head. The knife to a pregnant girl's throat.
It's so terrible, but in her mind, like, Ellie just intentionally killed her pregnant friend, and Mel was so visibly pregnant. And the fact that Abby does not kill them shows that she's kind of in a little bit of a better mental place, I think, than Ellie is.
Yeah,
Well,
she's
she's
grown
also
a
got
little
her
bit.
moral compass, like,
yes,
right in front of her.
Yeah.
Well, there's like
Yeah.
two versions of love right in front of her. One
Yeah.
is a destructive one of like wanting to do justice by the people that I've lost, and the other one is wanting to do right by this kid that I've come to be their protector. And she
Who's already
chooses.
seen too much violence, who's already experienced too much wrath, right? It's like he needs peace.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next.
Ellie? Hey.
That poor baby.
That poor baby.
Yeah.
We had a lot of conversations here about Ellie's thought process, the things she's not expressing, but she put the baby's life at risk right now, right? It's like, who knows what, and when she's in this fog of PTSD, what she could have done.
This is the moment for Ellie where she's...
It's never going to get better.
It's not going to get better, and she's put her family in danger. So it's probably better to just go.
Well, Dina is also trying to sweep it under the rug, and this is what's going to happen in the next. He was like, let's just go back to bed. Everything's fine. If I could buy another week, maybe she'll get a little bit better.
Or even just the distance to speak. It's just like when somebody's really in the thick of like the panic and the fog of grief like that, it's like you do kind of need time in order for them to kind of continue to progress through the stages. But it's like Ellie is refusing to move through these stages. And so like I feel like when we were doing this, like the patience that I have with it was that it's like maybe she'll move to the next stage soon. Maybe we're getting there. Maybe that's what we're getting to.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic.
I don't know if we ever talked about this, but we had a whole different version of this part of the game where it was Maria that showed up.
Yeah, but we felt it would be more intimate if it were seeing how broken Tommy was.
Well, it should be like feel more the guilt of like seeing the damage on Tommy and having Tommy been changed over this year since he got back to Jackson, of like the guy that wanted to protect Ellie and not go on this quest for revenge is now guilting her into it.
I like that you're coming in late and you're seeing this man has been very broken, and we're getting a sliver of how the abuse he experienced and the things that he did in Seattle have irreparably damaged him. And he's standing right in front of Ellie, and Ellie is looking at how irreparably damaged this man is, and she's like, yep, let's do that to me too. I'm willing to see the ghost of my future. That's the fate I deserve.
Sorry.
Nah. We talked about it a lot, and yeah, it's what we both want, so.
Well, the other thing we were talking about is the other big Ellie Tommy scene is after Joel's death and how they can't look at each other. And then this happens again here. Once he asks her to go, she can't look at him.
I think it's a confrontation thing, or when I'm feeling anger, I get uncomfortable, like I don't want somebody to see it.
It's also the shame, right? Of the shame of,
Yeah.
I'm letting you down. I'm letting Joel down. I'm letting myself down.
Yeah.
Described her as built like an ox, traveling with a kid with scars across his face. He said they're living.
I also think that there's something important in this scene for Dina, right? Because Dina has been such an amenable partner through so much of this game and their journey, and even when Ellie's off the deep end, Dina is a nurturing force. And here she's finally drawing the line.
We're done with that, so.
She's finally like, we're done with that. I'm speaking for Ellie now.
There's a line here, and you've crossed it.
And like the rage I felt too when he keeps going, I was like, it's
love it.
insidious. You know, it's like he came and brought the virus back into the house and now she's sick again.
Think of all the guilt he's carrying. He failed to save Joel. He failed to save Jesse. He failed to get Abby. He's fucked up. His marriage has fallen apart. All he has left now is this revenge. That's it.
Well, it also
Yeah.
it goes back again to that ego thing where it's like, you asked me to do this and I did it. I went to Seattle. Now I'm coming back for you to pay up, and you're going to be a little bitch about it.
Well, it's, and again, he doesn't. He's too blind to see the suffering that she's going
Yeah.
through. All he could see is like how
She looks
damaged,
great.
how damaged he is. What does he say? Like, oh, you live out here, and you got your family, and everything's cushy, and everything's fine, and I'm the one suffering. But he doesn't see that he's not the only one
Yeah.
suffering.
And I love that Jeffrey, when Dina walks over and Ellie's sitting there at the table, and Jeffrey is not even acknowledging Dina.
In a way, Tommy might feel like, I'm more family to you than Dina is.
Yeah, yeah,
I've known
yeah.
you longer. Like,
That's exactly
think
what
of
it
everything
felt,
what
yeah.
we've been through. And it's the only time there's really personal conflict between Ellie and Tommy.
That's one of my favorite Dina moments.
Yeah.
Because it felt so real.
I was so mad.
Yeah. Just like flying out the screen door and being like, listen, motherfucker, get off of our property. I love it.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select. X button. Select. X button, 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 select.
So this was one of the first things we shot for this game.
Yep.
There's so many characters here. We had to shoot this in multiple batches and then stitch it all together.
I did several days just dancing.
Yes.
Yeah, remember we brought a dance choreographer that spent some time with you, Shannon.
Yeah.
This was the demo, and so we had to. This was tricky because we're introducing to the world a lot of new characters with a lot of interesting dynamics, and trying to do that through exposition, but as thin an exposition as possible because, dear God, nobody likes exposition. It was hard.
What happened?
This scene has jumped around all over as we're playing with the structure. It used to be in the very beginning, and then we felt we just had too many cutscenes in the beginning. We need to get to the action a little bit faster, and then we moved it to the end. We changed the writing for the beginning.
She's putting on quite the show.
But there's something kind of nice, and I guess there's a tragedy to it of coming here at the end as a memory. Of just seeing Jesse's alive and Ellie and Dina are okay and no one's, and there's Joel.
Hey! What took you so long? Oh,
And this like really innocent first kiss.
Hey, don't forget, we're heading out early, so get some rest.
Yes, sir.
You're such a dick. Come on.
This was the first scene we shot. This was the first scene we shot after You hired me.
Yeah.
How bad do I smell? Like
I look at this and I'm just overwhelmed with all the details of the shirt, of sweat stains, of little hairs on the neck, little dimples on the smile. And just, this is hundreds of people of work for months to get this little moment. Sweat and trying to capture it.
The hair that I put behind her ear is crazy.
Yeah. And that has to switch from being physics hair to being hand animated hair
It's
as soon as you
crazy.
make contact with it.
Whoa.
Or not.
And even just the kissing, like, I mean, it's just, it looks so realistic.
Yeah, and it's actually a combination of several performances all stitched together right here. And then the lighting has to change from shot to shot. It's interesting highlighting the bracelet that's back on Dina's hand. It's a nice reflective moment of like how innocent things were for all these characters.
Yeah.
I love just the little surprise on Ellie's face, the little like moment of shock before melting into it.
And then we're about to get into Seth. And again, Shannon, your rage is so real here.
Hey, this is a family event.
Fuck are you looking at?
This whole interaction was based on one time I was at Blockbuster and I'm just talking to my friend, I'm throwing curse words around, and the dad in front of me had his 2 kids, and he's like, "Do you mind? There's kids around." And that always stuck with me. I felt such shame having like used curse words in front of these kids.
What did you just say?
Ellie, Ellie, don't.
Get the hell out of here. Get your hands off me.
Hey! Enough. Come on, you. Let's go for a walk.
What about them?
You worry about yourself.
I feel so bad for Joel here.
Ugh, me too.
What is wrong with you?
She doesn't want to be under his shadow anymore.
No.
But he can't help himself.
He's just trying to. He's trying
Someone
to dad.
someone is hurting her, and he's going to stand up for her.
Oh, Papa Bear. Yeah, you know you were an asshole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next.
Saddest scene.
Yeah, with the first game, right, we're talking about how do you take this obsession of love, of a parent's love for a child, to the end of the line? And then this has the reverse of it, of like, how do you take hate to the end of the line? Which is also like another expression of love. And the engineering of it was that here she has this family that loves her, and it's not good enough because she's letting down Joel in her mind.
I love the different energies that you both bring to this scene where Dina is giving it her everything in this fight, and Ellie just has to shut down.
This scene, my God. I was so hard to leave you because you were so upset and so broken and so sad, and I was like, I should, my mistake. I'm sorry.
I would argue this is maybe Ellie's darkest moment, even though I know where we're going, because this is the choice where she forsakes.
This is where she makes the choice.
Yeah. And I think she knows there's a very good chance she's going to die on this journey.
I guess the thing that we don't talk about is like, I think she's suicidal.
Yeah, I
think
agree.
there's the guilt of what
The
should have
pain is
happened
too
at the
loud.
hospital.
That's why she leaves in the middle of the night. She's not saying goodbye because it's clearly suicide.
Yeah. When the pain gets too loud, she's not there anymore. She's incredibly vulnerable, but she's completely disassociated, and there is this absolute rejection of everything that is right.
I'm just supposed to sit here and wait for you.
At that point, like, you know, you're not talking to the person that you're in the relationship with. You're talking to the grief. And so it's like the convincing comes into like, are you even in there anymore? Like, can I just find you for 1 second? And she's just fully gone.
Both characters have very clear goals, and then there's an obstacle, and then they keep ratcheting out. Like Dina just ups the ante over and over and over until the last bit is ultimatum.
Even the grabbing of the face.
And then
like
she pulls
it's-
her hands down.
Ugh.
And that's it. She knows. Philosophically, with this game, what we wanted to do was allow our characters to make immoral choices that the audience would not be on board with. Up until now, like, we shed some of the audience of, like, you know, the Nora torture. Some people have issues with that, or certain other kind of violent moments. But here we lose almost everybody. And it is by design in that way of, like, you're now, like, playing this thing that you are not on board with at all. You have to keep going. And in a way that does align you with Ellie.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic.
These shots are so gorgeous. There's a nice misdirect coming up here. We purposely gave Lev chucks. So you're thinking for a second that, oh, okay, this is where I pick up Ellie's journey. And again, now you've been a while away from Abby and Lev. And now Lev has fully shed his seraphite exterior. Has hair.
I love to see their growth, their relationship in this moment.
Okay, Constance.
In letting go of hate, Abby has taken on Owen's optimism, Owen's hope. This thing that was just this flame that was almost completely extinguished within her. Somehow in all that tragedy and all that horror, she was able to find it again.
Her face seems brighter, it seems lighter than it has been the entire game.
Come on.
Even in the flashbacks.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to
Is this frequency currently in use? This is
so small, but I love
What?
the hope. Again, it's just like she has a bit of hope here, and then it's cranked up to 10 when she hears the fireflies on the other side of this radio.
And isn't the firefly on the other side of this radio another Vox Machina hero?
Is it really?
Yeah.
Who is it?
Liam O'Brien.
Is it?
Yeah.
He was my fellow nurse, wasn't he? In the
He was.
Yeah, we
your
were with the
fellow
two
nurse
nurses.
in Last of Us 1.
Is this frequency currently in use? This is Abby from Santa Barbara. Is anyone out there?
There's a nice reaction here that Lev has to Abby's, again, singular obsession of now finding the fireflies. And he's ready to give up.
Can anyone hear me? Hello?
And she keeps going in desperation.
I love artistically how the character models for Lev and Yara were kind of a blend of both of the actors' faces, because now I'm like looking at baby Lev, but I feel like you can see some spirit of Yara still.
Is this frequency currently in use? Hello, this is Abby from Santa Barbara. Can anyone hear me? If anyone can hear me, please reply. Please answer.
Don't give up.
Like that, you know, this was perfectly shot, like we're pulling away from her, that this is how the scene's going to end.
2425 Constance. We got a tip
I
about
don't
a
know
base,
why
but there's no
I get weirdly emotional in this scene.
for fireflies. I'm a firefly.
Maybe just seeing how happy she is.
Where were you stationed?
I was part of the Salt Lake outpost.
Like the little head shake.
God, I'm so awkward.
I mean, I guess I'm a firefly. I kind of disavowed them, but that is who I truly am.
He was my dad.
Well, how about that? We pulled everyone back
Like
to the satellite
Liam's
stations.
acting right here, like in the reply. How about that? Like, holy shit.
200 strong now, with a few more every month.
Owen was right. You're about to get 2 more. How do we find you?
It's,
Oh, God, yeah, that's there. There it is.
Approach the large domed building in Avalon. We'll find you.
Okay.
Look at like the way Lev looks at her. He's happy for her.
Looking forward to it. Good luck, Abby from Santa Barbara.
Well, it's also like
Over and out.
There's a possibility of community here again.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure everything's going to turn out fine for these two.
But it needs to, Neil.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay the same cinematic, or exit to the main menu. Next. X button. Select. Replay. Next.
Here they get ambushed by a new group, the Rattlers.
The Rattlers are the worst people we've encountered in the game for both practical reasons, which were we want you to get to see Ellie at her most vicious, most violent. We want her kills to feel brutal and justified. And we want to feel like Abby and Lev, were they not saved, would have died.
There's also, with this group, wanting to make them really awful, to play a little bit with tropes and structure and misdirect the player, that in a lot of these stories, you have these two characters that you're rooting for against each other, and then there's a really evil force, and you see them team up, and they're going to work together to defeat the bad guys. And that's not how this plays out at all. That always felt a little too cliche, and I don't know if it really spoke to the themes of what we're trying to say here. But we wanted the player to think that's what's going to happen.
You completed the cinematic.
It's a nice me here of storytelling. Like, we don't show Abby arriving at Santa Barbara with this boat that has become a character of its own in the story. And we're just here with Ellie picking up the tail end of their journey. There's also like a really interesting note here from Abby. And it's also the first time we're seeing just how emaciated Ellie has become. And she's sunburned and clearly not taking care of herself in the pursuit of Abby.
I mean, it mirrors it can't all be for nothing, because she's killed so many people at this point. If she stops, that all is just for nothing.
I really like the parallel of the first game of her wanting to see things all the way through with her stubbornness, even though there's a part of her that says this is not the right thing to do.
You completed the cinematic.
Yes.
Nice mirror here of the injury Joel had in the hospital in the first game. We're constructing this. We wanted to injure Ellie badly. So again, she's choosing the pursuit of this thing over her own health, that she will likely die if she sees this all the way through.
I would argue she is dead already.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this upside down hair was such a pain. Because they have to, essentially, you can't just move the hair upside down. You have to remodel the whole thing. And we wanted her to have lost so much blood. It's again, the whole thing is starting to feel like a fever dream, and she thinks she's seeing like Abby and Lev, and then realizes, oh no, it's very different people.
Travis and Logic.
This was another moment to show how far Ellie has come, and how easier it is for her to kill someone in cold blood now versus the earlier parts of the story. And one more instance where she could use her superpower of being immune to get herself out of these jams. And what she's employing here is very similar to what Nora did to her, which is like try to insult them so they could get reckless, and in that recklessness she'll find the opening.
Something funny? Looks like you shit your pants.
It's good, Drew. I remember in this scene when I take the gun off of Bobby, the strap in one of the takes went across his neck, and I gave him a really bad rope burn.
Oh no!
Because I just like yanked it really quickly, and he had that for about a week.
Oh no!
It looked really, I was like, oh no. It looked like he was strangled or something.
But he looked badass.
He was so excited. It was like, oh my God, Ellie killed me. He was such a fan of the game.
That's right, he was excited.
I love how efficient that action is right there. Just grabbing the gun, spraying across his legs. And watch this little smirk that you give when he points out your bite. Because he doesn't know you're immune. No one's immune.
She had a scrawny kid with cuts by his mouth.
Travis Willingham.
Look at your face there is like it's like she's getting another hit of her drug. Like, I'm actually back on the trail.
She's so close, you can feel it.
Watch this smile. Looks at the bite. Right.
Talk.
There.
She's in a holding cell at our camp.
Where is that?
Head that way till you hit the railroad track. That'll lead you to a resort.
It's like, had this exchange happened earlier, if she killed someone in cold blood earlier, there'd be a very different reaction. It's like she's becoming more and more like Joel at this point, more and more capable and more cold about the violence, where she could just execute it and move on and not think twice about it.
I think at this point she's completely disassociated from the Ellie we've ever known.
Staring him in the eye as he's dying. Just a hint that the injury's getting worse and worse.
But again, she's not going to stop.
She can't. Not yet.
Tracks to resort. Tall round building. Tracks to resort. Tall round building. Fuck.
Over here! Aim for his leg!
We'll go back. He's got a gun. He's got a gun. Go back! God damn it! Shit.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the
Remember this. Yeah, so the idea, right? She gets hit right at her injury. I like how badass this scene is. And the desperation.
Ugh.
Remember the thumb to the eye. And this is Matthew Mercer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. What I like about this sequence, too, is, like, you can look at everything that Ellie does as so ugly and so brutal and so unnecessary, but had she not come after Abby, who knows if these people would have ever been free? Who knows if this uprising would have ever happened, right? So again, there's these butterfly wings happening because of all of the choices she's made, that none of them are just black and white. You've got this constant gray you have to reconcile with.
Oh, they're staring at her like she's some kind of wild animal. Again, like, there's this whole crazy thing going on here of, like, slaves and slavers, and Ellie cares none of that. It's just she's so single-minded about Abby, and pretty soon, she, like in gameplay, she's gonna just start repeating Abby, Abby.
I wonder how much of Ellie is hoping to die in that fight.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, replay.
But I love how surprising the speed is, right? It's like you keep moving towards this idea of this fight, and the whole way you're like, Ellie, you're too fucked up, don't do this, don't face Abby, we know what she's like, and now you come to this absolutely wrecked, frail.
I also love, it's pretty much wordless, and you could tell so much with the performance what's going on in their heads, and you could see Ellie's confusion and anger and sadness for what she's witnessing.
Yeah, it's hard. It's like finally the prize is right there, and now it just doesn't feel as satisfying.
I always read that like there are boats this way moment is like, if I'm nice to her, if I'm just like treat her like not my enemy, then maybe like this will all go by quietly.
You completed the cinematic. You can either
To me, this is a really nice mirror beat of Joel with Ellie, Joel carrying Ellie, right? And so you have that invocation, and Ellie just has to watch it, has to watch this embodiment of somebody who represents every good part of Joel.
It makes me so sad. This scene. It's just because Ellie doesn't know what to do with all of that anger and that hurt from losing Joel. And now this is the moment.
Yeah, because at this point, that's all Ellie has left. It's just this fucked up quest. Yeah, imagine having that image stuck in your head and not knowing how to get rid of it.
Yeah. And killing somebody else is not going to do it, but
You have to get to that point. You have to realize it yourself.
this was, we actually had a really fun day.
Yeah.
As hard as this scene was, and it's so funny doing this with one of your best friends, of just like fighting each other, pulling her hair, being like, get out of here, let's fight, kick me.
No. I'm not gonna fight you.
I think that threat is fake, right? It's, I don't think.
Yes. I don't think.
She's bluffing.
I absolutely think she's bluffing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes, but I agree, but what would have happened if Abby was like,
No.
no? Like, I feel like she still would have pushed that. I would think she would have pushed that knife in.
This is great that there's all these different interpretations.
That's
'cause
so
I
cool.
I don't think she would.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next.
There were all these other versions of how Ellie lost her fingers. Do you remember, Hallie, of like, there used to be when someone was waiting for her at the farm and then tortured her in retribution for what happened in Seattle.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was like the parent or somebody
Yeah.
of somebody who died, of like an NPC essentially, who came, and so you're seeing that cyclical nature of violence of like, you killed my person, you killed my person, you killed my person. So somebody you didn't even realize you'd really killed tracks Ellie down.
I love how you pin her with your knee.
Yeah. So originally the conception was that Abby dies here, and it would have been such a different game, I think, if right now there was just a body underwater and Ellie was having this moment. Yeah, you didn't know that?
I did not know Abby died here originally.
Well, yeah, originally, like, I think both Yara and Lev died, and this was just Abby by herself when you meet up with her. And then Ellie kills Abby.
Rough.
Yeah.
I think leaving Ellie with 3% of the humanity that she got from who she was, that good kid, that scrappy kid that Joel helped shape. I think if she killed Abby, you would never see that kid again. And this gives a hope that she's still in there a little bit and could be maybe revived in the same way that Abby was revived in the right circumstance.
I agree.
Seeing the reactions, there's people that wanting to know, what was it exactly that made Ellie stop? Is it Lev? Is it this memory of Joel? Is it everything she's experienced? Is it just like Abby's state, that it's not this person that defeated her in the theater? To me, it's all those things. The way our brains work is so messy. And that's the story was always meant to be very messy in that way, that there aren't these clear-cut answers.
To me, that moment is 2 more seconds, this girl is dead. So I already know what this feels like. I can see what I'm gonna feel like 5 seconds from now.
Yes.
And it's no different.
Yes.
So why?
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue.
Originally, the house was fully empty. And there was a concern, I think, that we had that it's going to feel like something bad happened to Dina, and we don't want to make it feel like it's...
Right.
That's the thought in her head. It's more, Dina has made that choice to move back.
She had to move back, too. She couldn't stay there alone with a baby. It was too dangerous.
But I do think there's something poetic in, like, she didn't take Ellie's things with her.
Yeah.
There wasn't a, I'm waiting for you, I'm going to build a home. It's I'm letting this, I'm letting this die. Yeah, here. And I'm going to let everything rot for you.
Well, that's really bleak.
Skate puzzle. Are you sure you would like? Yes.
Yeah, we wanted to create a metaphor for the unintended consequences of pursuing justice at any cost. And here we get to feel it of this song that means so much to Ellie, she just can't play it anymore. Also interesting thinking about Joel's headspace right now, like just been humiliated by Ellie in front of everyone. Who knows what's going through his head, but for me, sometimes when I get just filled with anxiety, it's guitar. It's just sitting down and just jamming and just...
Yeah, not even playing a song, just playing through something.
And we've had this scene at different spots of the game until we finally landed. It's this final moment.
Yeah, I think originally we were going to put it before the midpoint showdown of the game.
Right.
Oh, it plays so much better at the end.
Yeah, no,
It does.
now you can't imagine it anywhere else
Yeah.
once it's here.
What are you drinking?
Traded his soul for coffee.
Where'd you get that?
Those people that came through last week.
I would do the
A little
same.
embarrassed as to what I had to trade.
This is the most Ashley has ever pushed back on a scene.
Wait,
really? Which this was because originally it was written that they hug at the end of this scene, and you're like, I don't know if they would. I'm not sure like we could get all the way there. You were a sport about it, and we did 2 versions, one with a hug, one without a hug, and they were both very, very good. But ultimately, you were right. They're starting to forgive each other, but they're not fully there. Ultimately, makes it more tragic.
Yeah. I think that's why she goes on this journey, because it's just like it was never solved. Our relationship was never fixed.
Dina. Is she your girlfriend?
No. No, that was just one kiss. It doesn't mean anything. She just, I don't know why she did that.
But you do like her.
They just have like a father-daughter moment. Just this exchange about this crush that she has on this other girl, and Joel telling her like she would be lucky to have you. Again, he has unconditional love for Ellie, and that's what drives her mad. It'd be so much easier if he was just a complete piece of shit.
Oh,
Then
yeah.
you could just forget about him.
Yeah.
But you can't.
I mean, that's what's hard. I mean, she knows that he cares, and she knows that he does love her.
I was supposed to die in that hospital.
I also love that you
My life
bring
don't
it back
fucking
to
matter.
we're talking around the thing that we need to talk about.
You took that from
And
me.
you doing all of these gestures to try to make it better is not what I want. I'm going to bring it back to what the issue is, and that's I should have died in that hospital.
I also love watching. When do you both decide to make eye contact?
Oh, right, interesting.
And it's like right here for the watch at the end of this statement for emphasis. All eye contact. Because I am dead serious. I don't care the cost. I would do it all over again. Even if it means I'd lose you.
There is something to be said for your writing in this, which is, I would do it all over again, and I would do it all over again. Walk the knife's edge of meaning. Because there's one that is repentant, and there is one that is resolute.
I don't think I can ever forgive you for that.
Like this false moment, I can never forgive you for that. And he's ready to accept it. And then he's all of a sudden, but I'd like to try. And then I think the water works for everyone.
Yeah.
Just start right here.
Oh.
We did a lot of work of just writing these scenes and not being heavy-handed to talk about theme, but there is something about just the placement of the scene here. And it's a scene about getting over some horrible transgression that one feels. Because there's other things that are worthwhile in this world than just kind of living in this resentment next to the moment where Ellie decides to let Abby go. And whether she fully forgives her or not almost doesn't even matter. It's just she knows there's other things in life that are more worth putting your focus on. It's interesting seeing since the game has come out. It's been out for a few years now. How many different interpretations there are for this leaving of the guitar here. Whether it's she's fully forgiven Joel, or whether she's fully forgiven Abby, or whether she's willing to move on, or whether she just doesn't want to be under Joel's shadows anymore. And when people always I don't know if you get this often, people often come to me and they want the answer. They're like, which one is it?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, it's all those things. It's all those things in some way. Like, people's minds are so complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's what we've been talking about with grief and how that can sort of manifest in somebody.
I'll caveat by saying this is my own interpretation. And it doesn't mean that it's right. It's just mine. But sometimes you have so many triggers for trauma that you just need to let anything that might trigger you, you just have to let it go and start over.
I mean, how I felt in that moment of, it's easier just to not get close
Skip cinematic.
to people.
We know when we were writing this, we had so many conversations about leaving it on a hopeful note. And even though it's very dark, I do find it to be a hopeful note. It's left with that question of once you've committed all these atrocities yourself, can you come back from that? And we saw that Joel was able to. And then maybe Ellie could as well.
You completed the cinematic. You can either continue to the next cinematic, exit, replay. Exit. I'll see you around. Duration, 6 minutes, 53 seconds. Jackson. The farm. I'll see you around. The farm. The farm. Santa Barbara. New Game Plus. Play through the game. Story. Play the main story of The Last of Us Part 2.